So what time is it where you are?
I'm in Oklahoma. It's Central Standard Time Zone. Where are you at?
I'm in Canada.
Oh, you're in Canada.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Alberta, Canada. We're Mountain Standard Time.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yep.
So you're an hour earlier than we are, hour later. Well, hour earlier, I guess. It's whatever time it is here. It's
9 o'clock. 9 o'clock here.
Yeah, it's 10 here.
Hey, Phillip, how you doing, buddy?
Show. Welcome.
Doing great. Doing great.
Man, are you wearing the same shirt that you wore in the prophecy video, or when you were sitting there next to Mike Harris in that studio doing the?
No, I wasn't wearing this.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering because I got shirts that are from 20 years ago. But anyway.
Well, no, one of the girls at school today, one of my classes, I always wear a dress shirt. I have a pocket for my glasses, and she goes,
"Yeah,
what are you wearing, Mr. Barnett?" And I said, "Well, it's kind of fall. It's kind of fall colors. I got a fallish kind of a shirt on instead of a dress shirt."
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show. This is called Revelation Underground, where basically no topic is left unturned. We talk about everything on this, and tonight we've been heavy on the rapture. Is it coming today? Is it coming tomorrow? Is it coming in November? When is it coming? What are we waiting for? All this kind of stuff. So we've been chatting, mixing it up a little bit with the comments. People are throwing out questions to us, and we're just kind of answering and having a little bit of fun, talking about AI, all this kind of stuff. So if there's anything that's kind of on your heart or something that you want to, we don't have to go for hours tonight because poor Stephen hasn't had any sleep at all today. But if there's something that you want to talk about, this is a great forum.
You're down in Texas, right? Where are you at?
Yes.
Stephen? Okay, and Shane, you're up in Alberta.
Yes,
wow,
sir.
This is cool. This is great. Well, you know what? The rapture is the topic on every mind of this. Stephen, and Shane, God bless you. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
I have some friends in Ohio who were listening in the night of the live stream, August 1st, from Galena Park there in Houston, and it took like an hour and 10 minutes out of that message and translated it into Russian, and they posted it Friday night. And since Friday night, as of today, there were like 100,000 views the last 5 days. It will go way, way, way up. It's all over Canada, my understanding. A lot of people are listening in Ohio, Oregon.
And this is a teaching that you did?
This is a message called To the American Remnant.
Okay. I have to watch
it. Have you seen any of it?
Nope.
Okay. Well, Stephen could get that to you, or I could get it to you later.
Okay, thank you.
Right after the rapture, World War III will take place, Revelation 38 and 39, between America and Russia over Israel. And then 3.5 years into the tribulation period, the first war of the Antichrist will begin, and he will be over. Of course, we know there's a 10-nation confederacy, but 3 nations leave. 3 nations apparently get upset, and 1 nation joins. So that leaves a union of 8 nations. And you look at Daniel, the 11th chapter, towards the end of the chapter, the 40th verse, they come across the Mediterranean Sea from Europe. This is a variant of the European Union. And we know from the book of Micah, it's a big question as which country is going to enter into the Union, the European Union that wasn't there. We know from the book of Micah that the Antichrist is from Assyria. We go back in history into Daniel, like the 8th chapter, and we know Antiochus Epiphanes, who was like a grandson. Okay, well, go back a little bit more in history. We have Alexander the Great conquers most of the world. He dies of a disease over in the area of Babylon when he's about 33 years old. And he turns over the empire to 4 of his generals. One of those generals is over the area of Lebanon and Assyria and Syria, that area. And one of his, like a grandson of his, comes into Israel and offers a pig on the altar.
Right in the temple, right, causes the Jews to go nuts.
The first one.
Yep.
Now, the reason he offered a pig was because you remember the story. You guys both know the story of when Jesus went to the Sea of Gennesaret, which was a sea. Josephus, you got his writings there. And just a second, Masha, дай мне мой Библию, пожалуйста. Previously at this, just хорошо. Anyway, have my wife bring my Bible to me. Because I have this in my head, but I might need it for something. Anyway.
What was that language you spoke?
Russian.
Ah.
I was a missionary in Ukraine for 26 years. Da.
Oh, I got it wrong. Da.
So, no, you did it fine. And so I pastored Christ Cathedral. I constructed, organized Christ Cathedral Church. We had 4,000 or 5,000 people there every week in our services. It was a big ministry. We moved there to keep our son off the Russian front. We didn't want him in the Russian front because our kids were born there. I never married till I got to Ukraine, and I married a Ukrainian girl, Masha. Steve has met her. I married way above my classification. And so anyway, our kids grew up there, and so they had dual citizenship. So we moved out in 2018. We didn't want our son on the Russian front. There in the schools, all the schools just go through the 11th grade. Then the boys were all required to spend a year in the military. And that has changed the last year. Now they take men who are older than 25 into the Ukrainian military. But anyway, we moved out to get away from keeping our son we didn't want him on the Russian front. And I was a pastor for many years in America and a public school teacher. I taught music. You wouldn't be able to tell that from my voice, but
that's all right.
Teaching tens of thousands of lessons. I've been back here this is my 8th year. And I've already taught way over 10,000 classes. And our school is pretty violent, very violent, to tell you the truth.
Wow.
And so anyway, back to the story. The Antichrist, his grandson, Antiochus Epiphanes, came and offered a sacrifice on the altar inside the temple. Now, why did he offer a pig? If you go right across the Sea of Galilee, Sea of Gennesaret, there's 3 or 4 different names to the Sea of Galilee. We know the story that Jesus crossed the sea, and Legion, the guy with the legion, many demons came to him, and Jesus cast the demons out, and the demons went into the pigs, and they ran off maybe a cliff. Somehow they ran into the water and drowned themselves.
Yeah.
Why? What were the pigs there for? Because there was a temple to Zeus, the head god, the head idol god of the Greeks. There was a major temple to Zeus that had been built there on the northeast side of the Sea of Galilee. And all of those pigs were for sacrifices for that temple. So not only did Jesus free the demons out of the guy,
bankrupted them.
Probably 1,000 or so pigs that were used for sacrifices to some idol. So, Jesus, wow. Anyway, we're serving a great God, aren't we?
Yes,
so anyway,
100%.
That the Romans eventually conquered the Greek Empire, and the ancestry of Antiochus Epiphanes, one of his ancestors will be the Antichrist. That's why the book of Micah twice says he calls the Antichrist the Assyrian, because he is an ancestor of Antiochus Epiphanes. Antiochus Epiphanes went into the temple and made a sacrifice to Zeus, offered a pig, and his great grandson is going to come into the temple and claim himself to be God. And he will be able to people can ask him any question they want. His image, because of quantum technology. I preached several years ago about whenever quantum technology, quantum computers come into our system, then it will escalate the power of computers, the technology, beyond human imagination. And so that's where we're at. Now, I preached about it, and now here we are. That
Wow.
all of the technology can be fed to the image of the Antichrist. He would be like a hologram, and people can ask that hologram any question they want. I mean, what color was my great-grandmother's eyes? Or what was my mom's maiden name? Or where was I born? Doesn't matter the question. Instantly, seemingly instantly, that technology will be transferred through the computer system to the Antichrist, and the people will believe. And the fact of the false prophet being able to call fire down from heaven, and all the signs that are through the devil, because Ephesians 2:2 says the devil, Paul said, and the devil lives in the atmosphere around the earth. And he goes, he's not like God. God is omnipresent. But the devil, let me get this further away. Seem like I'm a little too close there.
Oh, here, I can do this as well if this helps.
The devil is, he's not omnipresent like God, but he can travel fast. And Jesus said, Paul said, he travels like, Paul said he's in the atmosphere around the earth, and that's where his dwelling place is. Jesus said in, I guess it was the book of Luke, the Gospel of Luke, he said, you know, you Jews say, oh, we're the seed of Abraham. Well, big deal. He says, I was in heaven, and I was there when Lucifer was cast out, and I saw him fall as lightning to the earth. It doesn't say to the earth, but we know it came down to the earth. So he dwells in the atmosphere around the earth. And at the midpoint of the tribulation period, he will be cast down again. His power to fly, to go around the earth like lightning, will be taken away from him. Of course, he still has billions of emissaries, the demons that but he's not omnipresent. He'll be kicked all the way down to the ground. And when he's kicked to the ground, he will enter into the Antichrist and give that descendant of Antiochus Epiphanes, the Assyrian, his power to work great miracles. And so we have the quantum technology that's here now, and people will be able to ask any question. And the world, you know, you guys both know, people are pretty gullible sometimes. They'll believe a whole lot that's not true, not factual.
100%.
So anyway, we're at that state. And now, as far as you ask about the rapture, I got to school this morning, and I went into one of the offices, and one of the teachers asked me, I won't say which one it was, but it was a guy, and he said, now, I don't want to take too much of your time, Mr. Barnett, but I got a question. My wife has a question, and it was about the rapture. He said, I've been hearing all of this, and he's a Baptist guy, a fine Christian man. Anyway, he said, my wife and a lot of people are talking about the rapture's coming this weekend, and 22nd, or I say weekend, the 22nd or 23rd. What do you think? And I said, well, the numbers all show, from what we see, the numbers all show that the rapture could very well be the 22nd or 23rd, especially the 23rd. But I said, back in 2020, I was praying on February 7th. It was Friday evening, and the Lord has given me, Brother Steve knows all the work I've been doing, and 7th day of the Lord prophecies, all the things. It's like, Lord, I was praying that Friday night, Lord, how am I going to get everything done that you told me to do? I'm teaching 8 or 9 classes every day, or 7 or 8 classes every day. My first class is at 7:30 in the morning. I don't finish till after 4 o'clock. I'm choir director. I have rehearsals till right at night. At that time, I was directing the solo ensemble competition for Oklahoma City, and then they put me over the choir competition for Oklahoma City. It's like I could have 1,000 kids in one day singing. It's like, Lord, how can I do all of this? You know, I'm directing the music basically for the city of 1 million people. How am I going to get everything done you told me if you come? Because I had this feeling that the rapture could come quickly. And so I got into bed the next morning, Saturday morning, February 8th. I got out of bed and I asked the Lord the same. I was praying the same question, Lord, how am I going to get everything you told me to do done if you come quickly? And the Lord spoke to me, says, I won't come, or he said, the rapture won't take place till after your 25th wedding anniversary. And so I thought, well, my 25th wedding anniversary is, now this was in 2020 in February. So I thought my 25th wedding anniversary is November 14th, 2025. That'll be 6.5 years from, or yeah, 6.5 years from, 5.5, no, 6.5 years from now. Maybe it was 2019. The Lord spoke to me. Anyway, so I checked on internet. It's like, well, when is Rosh Hashanah? Because we know Rosh Hashanah. I've been preaching 54 years. And I remember years ago in Ukraine when I was pastoring, working there, when I understood that the rapture has to take place between September 5th and October 5th. Those are the parameters of the Feast of Trumpets, Rosh Hashanah, when it can take place. And I thought, all of these years, all these thousands of messages I've heard, and no one ever shared that the rapture has to take place around Rosh Hashanah between September 5th and October 5th. So I understood that the rapture takes place at Rosh Hashanah. And so I thought, well, when my 25th wedding anniversary is November 14th. Well, in 2025, when I had my 25th wedding anniversary, Rosh Hashanah takes place a couple of months earlier. So rapture wouldn't be able to take place in 2025. So I thought, well, when is Rosh Hashanah in 2026? And I looked on I just turned on the internet. It said September 11th, 2026. So since then, the last
that's interesting.
5 years, I preached really strong that the Lord told me the rapture won't be till after my 25th wedding anniversary. So that would mean Rosh Hashanah 2026, Rosh Hashanah 2027. You know, if people say, well, if God spoke to you, well, because I got an email this morning, and I mean all day long, the last few days, it's like, Phillip, we believe everything you're preaching, except the rapture is going to take place the 22nd or 23rd. And so I said, well, we can continue this conversation in heaven on the 24th, or you can email me or text me back on the 24th if it doesn't take place.
Right.
My son left on a business trip to go out of state. He's 22. Bless his heart, he's staying at he's in New York right now. And so before he left the night before last, I said, okay, son, you know that I believe the rapture will not take place this Rosh Hashanah, that it will be the next or the next after that. I said, but just in case, let's have a prayer to make sure that there's been no evil thoughts, nothing that will keep us and anybody in our family out of heaven. So he sat right here across the table from where I'm at right now. And I stood next to him, and he and I prayed that prayer. I guess it was yesterday morning before he flew out. And so, you know, it could take place. But what I understand, what God told me, it won't be before my 25th anniversary, which will be November 14th this year.
Okay,
So,
I have one little tiny question.
yes.
Did the Lord ever reveal to you when you expire? Because I know some people, when you expire, or was that kind of oblique in some ways?
No, I had more than one dream and visions that I was taken into heaven. Now, this is interesting for you. One of the dreams, my wife and my two children and I went into heaven. We went into this large gate, and the gate was, somehow somebody told me at that point in heaven that the name of that gate is called the Gate of Rejoicing. It's the gate that people come through when they come into heaven, not to the city, not to the New Jerusalem, but into heaven. And so the name of that gate is the Gate of Rejoicing.
Yep.
And so, and when we came through the gate, there was a vast amount of people behind us and who had come in front of us. It was the rapture. And so my understanding from that dream, that particular dream, was that the rapture, that I and all of my family will go up in the rapture.
That's cool.
And
The only reason,
not have
the only reason why I asked that question is because I asked the Lord to show me like a rapture dream, because I was interested in that, and He showed me my funeral.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was like, so I was taken up to heaven, but I left my coffin, and I didn't want to look to see how I died, and I didn't want to look to see who was at the funeral. I was just focusing on going up. But I thought, Lord, that's not what I asked for. I asked, like, you know what I mean? I wanted you to show me raptured up and all this. So He showed me other things in heaven, but it was from the basis of a funeral, which was interesting to me. And I'm like, okay, it's not every day that you get someone like the Lord to show you your funeral. And I knew it was my funeral. I knew it wasn't someone else's, right? So I was just curious.
Why did I pray that prayer, Lord?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't pray that stuff anymore. That's my whole point.
I've got a question,
Yes,
Mr. Barnett. Do you think it is possible? Philip, okay. Do you think
it's just
okay? Do you think it's possible that the rapture could occur on the this Feast of Trumpets?
It will occur on the Feast of Trumpets. It's just the question of which year.
Because see, my question would be, question would be, is, you know, kind of like, you know, when God told Jonah to go prophesy to the Ninevites and said, in 40 days, you're all going to be destroyed. And it didn't happen that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of curious. It's like, okay, well, maybe God told you that, and it's, you know, it's going to be after your wedding anniversary, and that's 5 years ago. Maybe things possibly have changed. I mean,
Jonah didn't get it wrong. God was going to destroy that place in 40 days, but they repented, and they turned their lives around after. You know what I mean? So it's not like Jonah, I messed up on this one. I got this one wrong. They repented, and he was upset at them repenting because I believe he wanted the whole place to get destroyed.
Well, he did, but you remember, what was Jonah's message? You go preach to them and tell them to repent so I don't have to kill them. That was the message. Yeah. It's not like 100%, I'm going to kill everybody.
Right.
In 40 days, everybody's going to die.
Yes.
No, He sent Jonah there that they would repent so he wouldn't have to.
And they had a lot of cattle.
And if you will look, there's an interesting deal about that. If you will look in history, they have proven that period, that year when Jonah was there was a total eclipse of the sun. And I don't remember the date, but apparently it gives the exact date now. The scientists have measured when that eclipse took place. So apparently Jonah came and he preached that God's going to destroy this place. And then all of a sudden, a total eclipse of the sun takes place in the middle of the daytime. Scared the living daylights out of people. And the king, all the way down to the paupers, they all got saved after that solar eclipse took place. So God knows His timing is perfect. We know He makes no mistakes. People can get confused.
Yeah.
My understanding is that the Psalm 83 war will take place. I've got lessons on that. I preached it for many years. Psalm 83 war will take place. It is a late spring war. It's the time when the fruits, like the pomegranates, the figs, the grapes, they're all on the vine. The Bible talks about in Isaiah, more than one place, the summer fruits. The summer fruits will be on the vine, but not ready to be harvested. And then you guys are familiar with Isaiah 17, right? About when Israel destroys Syria. Nuclear attack on Damascus. Okay, well, that takes place during the Psalm 83 war. Years ago, Israel the Parliament, the Knesset, voted on a plan that is called the Samson option. Steve, maybe you've heard me talk about
this before. Yeah.
The
I've heard
Samson
about
option.
that. Yeah, I've heard about that.
What that is, that if Israel is about to be destroyed, Israel will send out their planes loaded with nuclear weapons, and they will destroy all the countries around them, so that there won't be another Jewish Holocaust where all the Jews are killed, and 6 million Jews the Nazis killed, and they had no chance. And so they will utilize. What's the word in English? They will have the Samson option. They will attack those countries. It is a late spring war, probably will take place in June. Matter of fact, Steve and I, you were there in Galena Park there in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
What you probably don't know, that day, I was invited, and Mike Harris was with me. We went and prayed for the mayor of the city. The mayor had heard me preach 3 years ago in a service there in Houston, and she came back. And so she had me pray for her police chief, the head of the fire department, about 20 some of their employees. I prayed for that day before we had the ministry that night when I preached that 3-hour message there in a live stream.
Yeah.
So anyway, what was my point? What was I getting at?
We're talking about this. Stephen asked the question, like, is it possible that Jesus can come tonight or tomorrow? And you suggested, based on your vision.
You said that you prayed with your son before he left, like kind of like just in case. I mean, is it because not only do the numbers line up and everything, and I'm sure you're aware, Joshua, but the literally thousands upon thousands of children, little 3 or 4 year olds that you're not going to argue theology with, that Jesus has come to and said that he's coming to take them home in September.
Well, I can't verify what God says to anybody else. Only thing I can't dispute with anybody else, because to me, when I look at the numbers years ago, like 5 years ago, when I started preaching, like, well, the Lord told me, and my thinking is the last few months, because of all of, and I hate to use the word hype, all of the conversations, like I walked into school this morning and they're asked, Phillip, we know you're a preacher. Tell us, what do you think? And I said, I believe we got at least 1 more year. And there were a lot of other questions I talked about today. But the Psalm 83 war, it's a spring war. It will take place probably in June. It will be a nuclear war. Israel will be hit at night, as it says in Isaiah, the 17th chapter, that Israel will be hit with weapons of mass destruction at night. And by the next morning, Israel will respond with the Samson option and destroy Gaza. The Bible says Gaza will melt. The Bible, same thing with Damascus, with Amman, Jordan, with central Egypt. I mean, in conversation continually with people from Egypt who are asking my advice about certain things. And so it will be a June war, probably June war, could be late May, but most likely June. And then after that war, what do you think Russia and Germany, the countries that are prophesied to be in that Ezekiel 38 and 39 war, which is Germany, Gomerlandia is Germany, even on ancient maps, it has Germany is Gomerlandia. We know that Magog is Russia, Togarmah is Turkey, Libya is all northern Africa except Egypt. So these countries are with Russia when they come against Israel. Okay, so what brings them against Israel? God says, I'm going to put a hook in their jaw. I'm going to put a hook in Vladimir Putin's jaw, and I'm going to bring him and his armies against Israel. What is that hook? The hook is the Psalm 83 war. Psalm 83 war is going to take place. Israel's going to nuke a bunch of countries because they're going to get hit by weapons of mass destruction. And so that, to me, that is what leads up to World War III, which is a fall war, which I know 100% the nuclear exchange between Russia and the United States takes place on November 11th after the rapture, whatever year the rapture takes place. And I had, excuse me, Steve, let me finish this. I had somebody, a few weeks ago texted me. Now, Philip, we know you said that rapture takes place at Rosh Hashanah, the Feast of Trumpets, but you say you don't know the year, but it has to be this year. I said, well, we will see. We will see, because I mean, this is the 22nd. Tomorrow's the 23rd. If the rapture hasn't taken place within, a few hours of where we're at now, then we've got another year to wait. And I believe, and I've been preaching it for years, after the Psalm 83 war, then Israel nukes these countries, Damascus, others, and that brings Germany and Russia and these other countries against Israel. And you can't prepare a major campaign where you travel for hundreds and hundreds of miles with your army. You can't prepare that in a week. It takes time.
Right.
So
you need food, resources, everything.
After the spring war, then in November, after the rapture, and we know the scripture says when they say peace and safety, sudden destruction comes. So way I see is the Psalm 83 war, and also Jeremiah 49. When Iran's nuclear program is destroyed, you see, we attacked them, but the Bible says in Jeremiah 49 that when it's totally destroyed, the radiation, something's going to come out and force millions of Iranians to flee. The Bible says to every country in the world, the arrow launchers, the bows, in other words, the nuclear launch sites will be destroyed. Radiation will cover Iran and millions of people will flee. They will be in Canada. They'll be in Oklahoma. They'll be down in Texas. And so we saw our attack, our brilliant military, what they did. But the radiation leakage wasn't there. They showed in some of the film, some of the video, they showed the tops of the mountains were a little blue. And that shows, hey, there was plutonium leakage. But the Iranians weren't forced to flee. That means that there's going to be another attack somewhere in the future, maybe by Israel, maybe by America, but probably by Israel. And the Iranians will be forced to flee. Look at the Ezekiel 38-39 war. Sometimes, guys, when we're trying to understand what the Bible says, we don't ask, what does the book say? What does the Bible say? No, we ask the question, what does it not say? Ezekiel 38-39, it doesn't mention Syria. It doesn't mention Iran. It doesn't mention North Africa. Why are all of those countries left out? Because Iran will be destroyed before World War III. And so, it's really popular. We've all heard preachers again and again and again say, well, there's nothing scripturally, nothing prophetic that has to be fulfilled before the rapture. Excuse me. It sounds really nice. It sounds wonderful. That's why thousands of preachers, they hear it and they repeat it, but it is not correct. The Psalm 83 war takes place before the rapture. Jeremiah 49 has to be fulfilled before the rapture, because can you imagine a war against Israel and Iran not participating? Iran won't participate because Israel will destroy Iran, or America somehow is going to destroy Iran before the fall war. The World War III is a fall war. Late fall starts November 11th. I know that 100%. 100%. Nuclear war takes place between Russia and the United States on November 11th, whatever year, after the Psalm 83 war, after the Iranian war. Okay, now, Iranian war didn't take place. We did hit them, but no plutonium that caused millions of people.
Yeah, it wasn't a war. It was just a one-sided. Yeah.
Psalm 83 hasn't taken place. So that tells me one of the reasons it was 2000. Let me think. 2, 3, 4, 25. Yeah, in 2020, it was at February 7th and 8th, God spoke to me. And I've been thinking a lot the last few weeks of his terminology. Why did God say, when he spoke to me on that morning of the 8th, when I was in the floor praying, why did he say the rapture will not take place before your 25th wedding anniversary? And here's the conclusion I've come up with the last couple of months especially. He said it that way because he knew right now in 2025 at Rosh Hashanah, millions of people, especially evangelicals, would be caught up in the excitement that we are going to heaven. Bang, 22nd, 23rd, we're going to heaven. He knew that would be the excitement right now. And he told me 5 years ago, Phil, don't get caught up in that excitement. You're going to have at least a year, 2 years to wait. And so I know now that's why, because I had no idea in 2020 in February that there was going to be all of this excitement in 2025. Yeah. Sean, did you know? You're Sean, right?
Shane, yeah. It feels like there is excitement, like almost all over the world.
I know it.
You can see it everywhere, right?
Would you have in 2020? Did you anticipate the excitement that's going to be taking place right now?
In 24, I wasn't anticipating it.
Yeah,
like
Steve,
this.
What about you in 2020? Were you excited about, hey, 2025, we're going home?
I wasn't around basically in 2020. No. Let me tell you that.
No, actually,
I was off the charts.
Yeah, I wasn't in a good place until 2023. Whenever I really started watching.
Yeah. Well, yeah, God for me, knew. 2022.
When I was so intense in prayer, I'd come back from Ukraine. Been 26 years, right? 26 years in Ukraine, and he knew what was going to happen to 2025. He knew the excitement about his second coming was going to be fervent all over the world. And he wanted me to warn people to be a bounce, something to, something would bounce off of, to say, maybe we got 1 or 2 more years left. So the people, because this is what the guy who talked to me this morning, he said, but with all of this preaching going on, I just got an email. 15 minutes ago, I got an email. Man, we're out of here. 100%. The rapture is tomorrow. It's like, hello. And this Baptist guy asked me this morning, he said, but if Jesus doesn't come back on the 23rd, what is that going to do to millions of people who say, well, see, we said he's not coming. He's put off his coming. It's in 50 years. It's in 100 years. And I said, exactly. That is the danger. That is the danger, that a lot of people will be disenfranchised if it doesn't take place tomorrow. Yeah. So
here's a question. Do I call you Pastor Phillip or
sure.
Philip?
Yeah.
I think here the question probably my audience is asking as well. There's another gentleman by the name of Joshua that predicted today or tomorrow kind of thing. And I think what happens is, as we get closer to a date that someone predicts and it doesn't happen, that person drops off, or they rejig the timeline and then say, well, actually, it's the year after that. I meant the 27th. Not the, you know what I mean? So I fear that you could also be in that position as well, like this Joshua, for saying, no, God told me that it's next year. And then as we lead up to it, right?
That's not what God told me. He didn't say it was in 26 or 27 or 28. All he told me was it will not be before my 25th wedding anniversary.
Okay, gotcha.
You see, there's a big difference in saying, hey, he's coming in 26. Yeah. There's a big difference in saying that God didn't.
Right. So you're saying not before, and like some people say 100% today, like in that email, you're saying 100% not before November.
If I heard from God right,
okay,
it wouldn't be before my 25th wedding anniversary, which is November 14th. And so the most logical time,
after that will be next year.
But it could be 27. It could be 28.
Right.
So that's what. So I've tried to be very careful to tell people and say, well, you said people will email me. You said it's going to be in 2026. I said, no. I said, only thing I said is it most likely date would be 26 because I know it won't be before my 25th wedding anniversary. That's what God told me.
Right.
And now I understand why we've got all of this frenzy about the rapture today, tomorrow. We have all of this going on. And so God protected me 5.5 years ago. It's like, Philip, don't be telling people that. Don't be telling people. Don't get caught up in that excitement. And I know you want to go to heaven just like we all want to go to heaven. I mean, talking to me. But he warned me it will be after November 14, 2025. So the next Rosh Hashanah will be 26 or 27 or 28. There's a big difference in that than saying, oh, God told me it's going to be the 26th. It's like, no, he never told me that. He said it won't be before.
Do you think that, what year do you believe that Jesus was crucified?
Well, all the math shows 32 AD. All of them, that's what I said, all of the math, if you look at the mathematics, if the calendar system, and I have information on the Jewish calendar system, all of the stuff. I got an email today that we're actually in 586. It's like 14 more years before the glorious appearing, which would be 7 years before the rapture. And I got that email and video that was sent to me today. And I looked at it between class, one of my classes. I thought, Lord, please don't let it be 7 more years. I don't want 7 more years of this planet. I want to go to heaven. Please don't. And I thought, Lord, it's not going to be that long. But
what about the 2,550 days that match exactly from this Rosh Hashanah to Day of Atonement? 7 years from now, and then it's only matched like that 6 other times since 1948. This is the 7th. It never matched before, and it doesn't match again afterwards.
That's what I said. All of the math adds up to the 22nd or 23rd. All of them. What you're talking about, I've looked at all of it. I've examined all of it, and all of the mathematics add up to this Rosh Hashanah. But the Lord spoke to me in 2020, and so we don't know all of history. We don't know how the calendar system is actually correct or not correct. Even the Jewish system, we don't know exactly because we haven't been alive for forever. Like God's omnipotent. He's always existed. Okay, so only thing I can, even though, and I'm looking, so man, when I look at the math, when I look at that 2,000 some days and everything, it all matches up.
Yeah.
But what God told me, it won't be. Don't get caught up in it because it won't be before your 25th wedding anniversary. So we will see. You know what?
Yeah, it is one of those where
person in the world not ever have to go to work again and just be with the Lord forever. Listen to my voice.
But you're not.
I hear you.
You're not sitting there with your arms crossed saying, "I'm not going till after November 14th."
No, I would. I mean, there's nothing would make me happier than my family and I be in heaven tomorrow. Mean, because I've been there. I have been in my mansion. I've been in my son's mansion. I've been in my daughter's mansion, and I've been looking into my wife's mansion. They're all next to each other.
Thanks.
And God took me to heaven years ago, and I went in. He showed me inside of those mansions. He showed me in front of the street. We like Italian architect. He's going to give us the desires of our heart.
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
Outside of my wife's entrance into her mansion and into my mansion is that curved top on the outer doorway. I thought, that Italian style, Mediterranean style. And a couple of interesting things. In the city of God, the New Jerusalem, where he took me, there was no porch, nothing to step up on, or no roof over the entrance into the mansions. Why is that? Because there's no sun, there's no rain. So you don't need a porch, you don't need a roof just to go up into my mansion. It was just like one step and go into the mansion. it's like you don't need a porch because there's no sun going to beat down on you. There's no rain going to flood the streets. So the doorways have to be elevated off of the ground to stay that water doesn't get into the house. So anyway, I would love to be in that mansion tomorrow. And
I hear you
down here, but
I hear you. And I think that's a healthy perspective to say, you know what, the Lord can come whenever he wants.
Yeah.
And I don't know when I'm going to go. I don't know when I'm going to punch out my ticket. I don't know. I'm not promised tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I know the Lord is causing me to study the Bible and to love on people today.
Yeah.
Like today is basically this is what we have today. This is what we have right here.
With the preaching that has went on the last few months and last few days, last few weeks, when I was in third grade, I had a science teacher named Mr. Monty. And one day he wrote on the board the word if. He said, this is the largest word in our language.
Yeah.
The little boy sitting next to me, Johnny Maddox, little red-haired, freckle-faced boy, he leans over, he says, I know words that are bigger than that. Said, Johnny, he's not talking about how many letters are in that word. He's talking about what that word means. We were just third graders. And if. So if the Lord doesn't return tomorrow, then millions of people are going to be disappointed and sad and are going to be disillusioned with the Lord's return. So we have to take things with a grain of salt. It's like, be wonderful if he does come this Rosh Hashanah, but we might have one or two Rosh Hashanahs left. Hopefully nothing more than that, but we will see. And if he does come, man,
it's good.
Jane, you're up in Canada. Steve, you're down on the coast of America.
It kind of sounds like from everybody that I've talked to, everybody's pretty much on the same page of September. Seems like September. And then of course we have the variance in years, like this Joshua guy saying tonight, tomorrow. Obviously, if that doesn't happen,
I'm sorry. You got
I was
speaking at the UN, and you were going to go ahead, Shane. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so if it doesn't happen today or tomorrow, I think it's fair to say that this Joshua dude, for example, got it wrong, and we either need to put him aside until he rejuggles his schedule and then comes back and then says maybe another date. And I fear that could happen with you, but I'm glad you said, like, you don't know if it could be next year, but it seems reasonable based on everything that it's September, but you're pretty convinced that it's, again, like you said, you're hoping, like, if it happens tomorrow, that's great, but you're pretty convinced that the Lord said to you not before November, based on everything that I've heard from you. Is that fair?
No, the rapture has to take place Rosh Hashanah. The feast of Israel, the smaller feast, but the 7 major feasts of Israel, there's a natural side, a spiritual side, and a prophetic side. And the Feast of Trumpets, Rosh Hashanah, the prophetic side of that is the rapture. Okay? And so we know 100%, the rapture has to take place around Rosh Hashanah. The parameters of Rosh Hashanah, it can take place as early as September 5th or as late as October 5th. Somewhere in there, every year Rosh Hashanah occurs between September 5th and October 5th. We know the rapture takes place in the early fall of the year. We just don't know which year, for sure.
That's fair, and I think that's fair. Because, again, we don't know until we're caught up.
Yeah.
Like, really.
And the Lord told me, not before your 25th wedding anniversary. So that means Rosh Hashanah, the first true chance would be, even though, Steve, all of the math points to this year.
Yeah.
But we don't know all the facts about history, about math and what years. Yeah. We absolutely don't know.
But they're meeting to divide Jerusalem right now. The UN is. They're fixing to force that on Israel, or at least it appears that they're going to force it on
They're
Israel.
trying to. See, Great Britain, France, and a few countries have recognized a two-state system, a Palestinian state.
Yeah, Canada.
Circumstantial evidence, if we were in court, circumstantial evidence looks toward Rosh Hashanah right now. Only thing I can say is what God spoke to me.
Right. And that's fair.
Even though all of the math points to right now.
And I think
right now.
And I think that's what we all have to wrestle with is you're going to have voices coming up that says, God said to me, told me this or that or whatever. And eventually somebody's going to be right one of these days. Like you got a 1 in 365 chance each year to get it right. And if we're focusing on September, you got a 1 in 30, and eventually somebody's going to be right. But I don't think we're going to be arguing as we're going up, going, aha, Philip was right. Stephen was wrong. Shane was right. We're not arguing with each other. And I'm hoping that Philip will invite me to his mansion.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to have a party there.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Of course, I might just have the angels fix the food.
There you go. Put them to work.
Oh, man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate this. I do have to shut it down. It's been 3 hours and 20 minutes. Another record shattered. But I do appreciate having you on my channel. I would love to have you again as a guest sometime in the future if we're still here tomorrow, maybe somewhere down the road. If we're still here, the Lord willing.
Clouds in the next couple of days, Philip.
Yes.
You know, but
for
at
sure.
this point right now, I mean, it's it's all because even though, yes, I'm excited about right now, but I'm just, I saw you on Paul's program like in March or April, but then I didn't expect all of this stuff either to just blow up here in the last month or two, and then looking at all.
Did you expect this morning, Stephen, that Phillip Barnett would be on my channel? Did you expect that this morning when you woke up?
No, I've never asked him to be on. I mean, man, thank you for just coming on here.
I appreciate that. It's so late at night. Thank you,
Stephen. Did you get it's 30 pages. I sent the final of the American Remnant to you today. Did you get that?
Let me check. Let me just double check. Yes, I did. Yes, thank you for sending that. I did. I just got it.
Please give that to Shane, and Shane share it with everybody you can.
Sure.
And I finished it last night, basically. And then the Lord spoke to me to put a couple more things in about a particular timing of the Chinese attack against Western Canada. Shane, you need to read it. You need
Canada. What did we do? Wait, what? Wait. We're actually close to China.
That he has said. I'll forward that to you, Shane.
Yeah, give it to me, please.
Now, so this 30-pager, that's inclusive of the first 12 pages.
Well, that night when I preached, it was 19 pages, and now it's 30. And I've got 2 or 3 pages extra that the Lord gave to me on the way back from Florida. Remember, I preached in Houston, and then I had to go to Florida. My daughter won national championship for art for the Assembly of God in Florida. She took second place for college students. She took second place for piano and second place for fiber art. And there were 22,000 people. There were thousands of entries, and she took first place in one category. And second place in 2. And last year she took first place in small human video. And so my kids are smart like my wife, but they don't.
Wow. That's funny. That's awesome. Wow. That's cool. Well,
you read that, and the very end of that.
Yes, send that to me, Stephen.
Western Canada. Read that. The end of it talks about Canada. Read that, and I'll come back on. I've got to be at school early in the morning. I've got classes all day. I have to teach.
Sure.
But you'll come back on with us, huh?
Do what, Steve?
But you'll come back on with us.
Sure.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right, sir. Well, you have a good night. Thank you. I appreciate you being on there. On here.
And also, Steve, the that message that night, I think I mentioned when I first came on, it's been combined to like an hour and 10 minutes, and it was translated into Russian, and we've had 100,000 views this week.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So God bless you.
Okay, that's so it just hit 100,000 views on Mike Harris Media.
No, it's translated into Russian from people up in Ohio.
Oh, because it's the people, it's the Russians and Ukrainians. See, he is huge, Shane, over world leaders would seek his advice, his counsel.
Oh, wow.
When he was in.
I'd love to have a discussion about Ukraine. I think that would be great. Talk about Ukraine.
Well, God bless you guys. I've got class early. I got to get to bed.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye. Where are you from in Kiev?
І молодий